Welcome back to the Municipality, the podcast. Last week we hosted State Representative Erika Uyterhoeven. She joined both of our classes for tea, brownies, and a conversation. Without further ado, here is part one of our live interview with State Representative Erika.
This is our microphone. Okay. It catches the voices of the two of us, so you don't need to hold it or anything.
Awesome.
8th grade, this is another super exciting day in civics class. We always say that to be active in your community means you talk with others and that you engage with elected leaders, because in representative democracy, your leaders work for you. And that one of the most powerful ways we as residents of a community can kind of hold power accountable is by having these conversations with leaders like State Representative Erika Uyterhoeven. What, first question, not on your sheet, sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But what do we call you? How should we call you when we have a question?
You can call me, so there's a term, you say like rep or senator. You can call me Rep Erika. I'm also fine with Erika, so whatever, we're not in the legislature, so you can call me just by my first name, like we do in school. So
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, well, Erika, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Our first question would be, when did you first learn civics or government? And is it unique, do you think, for 8th graders to get a full year of civics?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I learned in, I think, high school, and it was in a more historic context rather than in a what do you do right now, right? What's happening right now? My education, which was, I was in school 2000 to 2004, was high school. That we largely only learned things as if it was in the past and not the more present issues, which was wild to me because I also, if you all learned about the Iraq War, I was in high school when that was happening. And so that's actually kind of where I first got politically engaged, but it was not, I did not learn it in school as directly. And so for you all to be learning this in the 8th grade is awesome.
And my second question, before the more important speakers come up, what was your middle school like?
Oh my God.
What do you remember?
I remember. It's a big school. I remember the first time I got a locker. That was like kind of a big deal. But
so we're, for example, like we're a pre-K to 8 school.
Right. Okay.
So did you have?
We switched school. Yeah, we had a K through 5, and then everyone got pulled together into the one big middle school. So it was intimidating because it was suddenly, you all had all these new kids. So it was it was a wild time actually. Really weird to go from the sort of tiny classrooms we had to and then we were able to choose which classes we took. It was a big school, and I remember I always had trouble getting to class on time because the lockers were so far from the classrooms, and I was kind of like, why hasn't anyone figured out this doesn't? I can't. I can run, but it was anyway.
You probably get yelled at if you ran in the
hallway.
hallway.
Yelled at, yeah. It was a little more authoritarian, maybe. I don't know about today. Yeah, but it was a lot of rules, and I think that's when homework started to get stressful for me. I think I pulled my first all-nighter, which please don't do that. Try to manage your schedule. But I didn't have that skill set when I was that age. So that was my memories of middle school.
I think we can all relate to feeling that homework in middle school is the first time it really becomes a stressor for us. It's a lot to manage 6 different classes and all of that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're getting some nods from folks.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in Somerville? If not, where were you born and when did you move to Somerville?
Yeah, so I did not grow up in Somerville. I was born in the city of Boston. I grew up in a small town called Wayland, which is off the Mass Pike. Once I graduated, I didn't want to come back. I did not enjoy living in that suburban environment. I moved to Somerville after I graduated from college, which was in 2010. And I rented here for a while, moved around a bit, but I've been largely, in and out here in Somerville.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Okay. Next question. This is rapid fire. These shares. Love it.
What are some things you do as a state representative?
Oh, okay. So there's a lot. You're going to hear this a lot when you ask people about their jobs, and they're like, "Oh, every day's different," and it is. But I will say there's some main parts about it. My core job is to vote for and advocate for bills that are in the legislature. So for example, I'll just give one example from last week. I had a meeting about elder parole, which is to end life without parole sentencing. So we made a strategy of like how, who we were going to talk to, what conversations we're going to have. So that's one big part of the job. Another part is that it's my responsibility also to communicate what I'm doing in the legislature to constituents. So I had office hours last week where I answer questions from voters. So you can come to those office hours like any of you, and also write newsletters, get things published in the press so that people understand what's happening in the legislature. And then the last thing that we do is campaigning. So every 2 years I'm up for election. So anything around, either you have to raise money or knock on doors, talk to people about issues. That's a very broad strokes of what I do as a state rep. Yeah.
Going off of that, what is it like to run for office, and what are some things you do to campaign?
Yeah, so running for office is, I'll be honest, really hard. It's really stressful because you have this very clear deadline of election day, and there's a very clear binary, you win or you lose outcome. So it puts a lot of pressure on you as an individual. But it is, I also think it's really fun. It's largely, you're trying to reach as many people as possible, have as many conversations and answer as many questions as possible when you're running for office. That means you get to spend a lot of time talking to voters. So I love that part of going door to door, or in my case, I had to phone bank a lot because I ran during the COVID pandemic shutdown. And then you do have to raise money, which is usually the least popular part of running for office because you need to have money to pay for your staff, to pay for printing, all the postcards and sending mail. So that's what running for office is like. And then the things you do to campaign, you answer a lot of questionnaires too. So I am really, it's important for me to have the support of unions, advocacy organizations, climate justice groups, but then they also have a lot of questions for you, before you get elected. So you spend a lot of time writing, actually, a lot of your positions and all of that. So that's largely what it's like to campaign in a very short, whirlwind.
Jump in and ask
please. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
When you campaign or you talk with the different groups that you just listed, like unions, advocacy organizations, and whatnot, does it get contentious at all? Can there be heavy or difficult conversations? What can a tone be like? Can it vary?
Yeah, I think, so I haven't had an experience that was contentious because I largely agree with what unions and the various advocacy groups are asking for. So a lot of the positions I believe in already are the same positions they have. And so when you run for re-election, it's like, well, have you helped continue to support us? And I really believe that you all are the experts of your own experiences, and similarly, unions are the experts of their experiences in the workplace, and climate justice groups are experts of their experience by working on fighting to stop the climate crisis. So for me, that, I haven't had a contentious situation. I know of them though, because there'll be people who went back on their promises, or are upset they didn't get supported, even though that they didn't support the issues that the organization supports. So that can happen. But in terms of the tone, it's not contentious. I'm trying to think of times where it is. It's probably, you are running against someone, so that can get kind of, dirty. So, for example, there'll be times where people will be like, I didn't say that. It's like, yeah, you did. It's written right here. Remember? And so there's that kind of back and forth that is more contentious. But I've not had it with that process of getting support. But I know that that can happen. So.
Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for part 2. And remember, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify.